Hi everyone. So today I wanted to talk about, sorry, yeah. So I wanted to talk about the price of expansion. Um, this year I've been praying for expansion in my business. I have a craft business that I do, and I want it to grow more. Like get more customers and have more sales and so. And even like praying for the things that the promises that God's placed in my heart or visions that He's given me, like praying for those things to come to pass and thanking Him that, this is the year it's going to happen and all of that. And then I've begun to experience opportunities in terms of whereby people would come and they would ask me to do stuff for them. And I've never done it before. So it's like a challenge for me. And it's like I'm tempted to say, no, like I don't do this or I don't do that. I've never done this before. I don't know how it's going to be done. I don't know how I'm going to do it. And I remember there was a situation where I had to I had to make something for someone. I never done it before. It was a challenge for me. But one thing I know about myself is that I'm always willing to take up a challenge. Like if somebody asked if I could do something, I'd never done it before, but I said I'm gonna try. So at least I try. And I decided, okay, I'm gonna try, I'm gonna do this. And then I was having my devotion in the morning, and I remember that, it's not about me and not about my ability, like my own ability. And I have a video about that where I'm talking about us when we depend on our own ability kind of keeps us back from receiving what God has in store for us. So I say, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but I place it in God's hands. I commit to Him, I surrender to Him, and I allow Him to, help me with it. And I remember I came home and I was working on this thing, and it kind of felt as if it wasn't me, like the things I was doing is like I've never done this before. Like, where did this come from? It's like I was just doing it, and the thing came out so beautiful, and I got to see, like, wow, I didn't know I can do this, and then I did more and I did more, and then that was another addition to my line. It's not something that I can do, that I didn't know that I could do, but I was willing to, in other words, pay the price for expansion, meaning that I was willing to take on the challenge, be willing to, put myself out there and allow God to use me. And I just think about, I don't think I can do this, so I'm not going to do it. If I can't do something, then I'm not going to do it, but just trust that, what, I can do this, but I believe that if God gives me this opportunity, then, He thinks that it can be done. And I can't do it on my own, but with His help I can do it, and just trust that He can, He's going to help me. So basically, tying everything into the title of the price of expansion, like we're praying for God to do stuff for us, we're praying for these things that He, God promises that God placed in our heart to come to pass. But the way it's going to come is by us being willing to do things that we've never done before, take on a challenge, face fear. And I've been doing that lately. Like lately I've been stepping out of my comfort zone, and facing fear up front. It's like, no, it's like me and fear. Like if somebody come and ask, like I guess I still get nervous every time I have to speak, but if somebody come and ask me to speak, I'm gonna take it on. And that doesn't mean that I'm not gonna be nervous about it, but I'm not going to allow my nervousness to stop me from going forward. Because the thing is, I want to receive everything that God has for me. I want to grow. I want to expand. And in order for that to happen, I realize that I'm going to have to face some things that I don't want to face. That might be a bit scary for me, but I'm going to face it anyway. And you know what? It doesn't mean the absence of fear. It doesn't mean that, okay, when you get bold enough to get out there, fear is not going to be around. Fear is going to still linger on, but despite it, I tell myself, despite the fear, I'm going to do it anyway. And I remember I was at the time when somebody asked me to speak and I was on that stage, my hand was trembling and I was like moving the mic from one hand to the next, right? Because of how my hand was shaking. But I still did it. And I'm proud of myself for doing it. And you know what? I'll do it again. Even if my hand is shaking, I'll do it again. I'll do it all again. Because I know that the more I do it, I'm going to get bolder. And the more I'm going to become the person that God created me to be. I'm going to achieve all that God has in store for me because I'm willing to step out and receive it. And if I think of it this way, it's like I pray in God, please bless me with this, please bless me with that. And God's like, here. And I'm sitting there. And He's like, here. And I'm just sitting there, But when we take on the challenge, is us stretching out our hands and receiving what God has in store for us, So I'm just encouraging you, maybe you're in that season too, whereby, you've been praying about something and God is finally deciding to, bless you with it. And, it comes in a form of a challenge, or maybe you having to face your fear or something like that, and you're scared to do it, or you're thinking, I don't think I can do this. God, you're not alone. And don't feel like it has to be perfect. Like everybody that's doing something out there that is great right now, or invented something, they had to start somewhere. You think it started perfect? Many times they may have had to try before they actually got it, or when they were doing it the first time they were doing, they were fearless about it, that fear didn't exist, or fear wasn't around them. But are you willing to pay the price that needs to be paid in order to get to where God wants to take you? Are you willing to pay that price? Are you willing to be bold? Are you willing to take on that challenge? And it doesn't mean that fear is not going to be around you, or you're not going to be scared, or you're going to know everything. But you're not alone in it. When God says, okay, Joanna, let's go, or Joanna, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. It's not me alone. I know I'm not going out there alone. And I'm learning to trust in God. Every time God said, give me an opportunity, I really want what God has in store for me, everything that God has in store for me, and I want to become everything that God created me to be. So I'm willing to step out there. I know I'm not doing it alone. I know God is there with me. So it's like I'm holding on to his hands. Okay, God, let's go. Like it's two of us and we're in this together. So I'm not alone, and I know God can do anything. It's like I go to this place and everybody know this person. I'm with this person, so because they know them and this person is this famous person there, I get to going for free. I get all these different perks because I know this person. So it's kind of like that with me and God. I get this can work out for me, that can work out, and I'm learning not to worry about stuff, because sometimes you got things to do and you're thinking, okay, how this gonna get the how is that gonna happen, how is this gonna happen? You start to worry about all these things. But I'm just saying, you know what, God has a plan. He knows what he's doing. I'm just gonna trust him. He knows what he's doing, and I'm there with him, and we're going together. If I decide to walk off on my own, everybody's like, okay, in terms of this example I was giving, like if you're with this person in this building, everybody know this person, so as long as you're with this person, you get all these different perks and so, right? But if you decide to walk off on your own and wander off on your own, people might look at you as what are you doing here? Like, how did you get in here? Like, who are you? But as long as you're with that person, it's like you're known, everybody's like, hi, how you doing? Just because you know that person. So it's like that with God, like every time you when you're with him and you're going through life, he's going to work it out. He's going to give you a way. He's going to make a way where there seems to be no way. He's going to do all these things, like in Isaiah chapter 43 verse 19 talks about him making a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. He makes a way where there is no way. He does things that are impossible. He can do anything. So as long as you're with him, you can be assured that it's going to work out. You don't know how, but it's gonna work. It's never been done before, but he can do it if he wants to do it. So you're sticking with him. And when you try to run off on your own to do stuff, it doesn't work out, because you're trying to do it in your own strength, or you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing, and then you get yourself in problems. So anyway, back to the to the team. Like, are you willing to do what it takes in order to get your prayers answered, in other words? Because God is answering your prayers. I realize God is. He might not be doing it in the way that you think it should be, but he is. I've been praying for expansion. I realize this is the way it's coming, and I have to be willing to take on this challenge, to do this thing, to face my fear, and all this, in order to receive what I've been praying for. So are you willing to pay that price, to do what you need to do in order to receive all that God has in store for you? Anyway, thank you for listening. I think I went all over the place, but anyway, I always pray before I do this video that whatever people need to hear, that's what they hear. So if I go off of stuff that I didn't plan, I know that it had to be done, and that there's somebody that needed to hear that. I didn't know they needed to hear, but the Holy Spirit knew, so he brought it up. So I thank you for listening, and as I usually say, feel free to comment about maybe some experience that you would have had, something that maybe can help other people too. Anyway, thank you for listening, and see you in my next video. Bye.